All right, so I'm here with Joel, my son. There he is. Hello. And we're talking about T2. See if I can get us both in the same frame, or maybe. We're talking about Terminator 3 Dark Fate that's coming up, and how Terminator 3 could possibly be better than Terminator 2, which was, we both agree, correct, Joel, that it's better. T2 is better than Terminator 1. Which didn't even seem possible because Terminator 1 was an incredible flick for the time. You know, back in the 84, I think it was, in the 80s. And Arnold Schwarzenegger, kind of early Arnold Schwarzenegger, young Linda Hamilton, just a great flick. And then you got Terminator 2 with that, alloy metal dude, T-1000. Just Edward Furlong, which we talked about
it was great
a little bit ago. So it's just really, so we're talking about how can Terminator 3 Dark Fate have any chance to be better than Terminator 2, where all other sequels have failed. So you were saying there just a minute ago before we started rolling the camera here.
I was saying you got to bring back the original characters. You got to bring back, like they're bringing Sarah Connor back. The Sarah Connor Chronicles. Really, that was great. TV show. You got to bring back the formula that works. You bring back the original characters, and you got to get away from the John Connor storyline in itself. I think that was where a lot of the newer movies they failed. They focused on John Connor. You got to focus on what is the Terminator coming back for. If you only have it tied to one character or one reason, it's never going to be as good as the second movie. You're never going to progress to be the storyline moving forward. The idea is supposed to be, the Terminator is supposed to be fighting. You're trying to beat the Terminator, right? That's it. The machines. The arc is trying to go against the machines.
Mm-hmm.
So to do that, they need to build upon the art that was built by the second Terminator movie. And I think they're going to do that. I believe, based on what they've got going here. But they got to.
Well, go ahead.
Yep.
We talked about the storyline and what it possibly could be. You can, that it would be, it would be something where possibly in the future medical, maybe it starts with implants or something. And we're just guessing here. We don't know anything about it. We're just two people talking about what it possibly could be the plot. We have no idea. But maybe in the future, these medical parts, maybe you start with a heart, some sort of a valve or heart valve or something, and then you get more and more machinery into you, because there's that trailer suggesting that this new character, this new female character, is part Terminator, part human, and that maybe that's how Terminators in the future. That's the storyline they may be going with, which is I think is kind of a cool storyline. I mean, what do you think?
Well, I agree. I think the storyline is a much better one than what they've had with Terminator, the original Terminator 3, The Rise of Machines. I thought that, bringing back Arnold was great when they did that. It's just a whole lot of... They just need to progress. And bringing back Sarah Connor is really a great idea. And going back to the original person that played John Connor is also a great idea. Or Edward Furlong, great actor.
Yeah, he was great in T2. It'll be interesting to see him at an older stage. How everybody's at an older stage. But what I'm wondering is how the heck and I guess this is one of the things that's going to make people curious to go to the theater, but how the heck is the T-800 Arnold Schwarzenegger in the woods as an old guy? I mean, because he was getting dropped into metal, the lava at the end and being burned up. So no other pieces of Terminator would exist. And yet he's in the woods somehow in the Dark Fate, in the trailer anyway. So
like we've seen in different Terminator movies, they can reinvent the wheel as they go along. I mean, anything can happen. If it's going to be a cyborg matched with a human, obviously he would age. So that's one angle to look at.
So you think maybe he's like this girl? He's also got the capabilities of being half human and half. Because didn't they just use his face on the production line? Wasn't that the concept of how every T-800 looked like Arnold Schwarzenegger? Because they used his face and his body. So they have some issues with the canon, I think, that are going to be hard to get around. That people are going to go, and that's plagued the other sequels, that there's people going to go, Well, that just makes no fucking sense, right? There makes no sense whatsoever, because this happened in this movie. You know, the more movies you make, the harder it becomes for consistency and continuity to keep it together. And I think that's why people got frustrated with the sequels to date, is that they just kept going on and on and on and changing things that they changed, and it just gets confusing. So
well, that's why, like I said, you go back to the original, you go back to what works, and that's what you do. That's how you build a good movie.
Yeah,
you follow the original plot line.
So you think they're going to make basically a reboot of the first one, just with different characters and a more badass alloy T1000? It's the T2000 or whatever they're calling it now, and that's how it's going to go down.
I think they're going to, like I said, they're going to do something like that. They may change up the storyline for continuity. I mean, you know, they don't want to have the absolutely the same thing. I mean, that would make for a poor movie. I mean, that's what they tried to do with Genesis, and look how that fared. It was an okay movie, but it's still not a Judgment Day type of film.
No,
it's not the same caliber.
I think that, honestly, I think the best they can hope for, and this would be a huge home run for it, is that it's somewhere between the first one and the second one. I don't think it's going to top the second one. I don't see that even being possible. If James Cameron does that, I mean, this thing could make who knows how much money, $3 billion or something. He somehow makes a film, but he didn't direct this. He just kind of sent in script ideas. So he's sort of half 1 foot in, 3 feet out, you know, if you will. I mean, he's working on Avatar right now. So I don't think he really spent the amount of time that would be necessary, fully immerse himself to outdo what he did in T2. That's my take. That I think the best he can hope for is being something better than one, and almost, you know, maybe half as good as T2. What do you think?
I think that we're looking at, like I said, it'll be probably I honestly believe it's going to be weaker than the first one and weaker than the second one. I think it'll be better than Genesis, though, with Sarah Connor and Edward Furlong coming back. You're looking at probably a 3-star movie out of 5. Decent popcorn flick. That's my take.
All right. Yeah, I mean, I couldn't even begin to give a rating, but if it's my gut feeling, it's probably going to be more like a 2 out of 5 stars based on all the history we've had. Maybe 2.5. Maybe I'm with you, 3 stars, an entertaining popcorn flick. But I'm leaning more between 2 and 3 stars out of 5 is what I think it's going to end up being, and it's going to be somewhat of a disappointment. But you know, it's coming out at a time with, what'd you say, Charlie's Angels? I mean, it's not going to have a lot of competition opening weekend with it. We'll see what happens, huh?
Yep.